Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, it's the basement battle against Ecobaronen, our monthly series where we play decks that are off meta. They're not allowed to be in the top 15 decks on MTGGoldfish. All of my decks are provided from my Patreon. There's a submission and voting process that happens all month long, and then I play the decks that win, and then we start it over again. This time around, the first deck I'm playing features a bunch of new cards. This is Esper Flash from Harain, featuring Katara, Waterbending Master, and Wanshitong Librarian. Katara is kind of a hot new card. I expect to be playing a lot of this on the channel. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, you get an experience counter. When Katara attacks, you may draw a card for each experience counter you have. If you do, discard a card. A 1/3 with no evasion, not sexy. However, casting spells on your opponent's turn is kind of what blue decks want to do anyway. Over the course of a game, if Katara ever draws 2, discards 1, you're already doing it. If she draws 5, hell yeah. Harain's list had 4 Katara in it. I'm playing 3 because this card is currently in the new card commander set bonus release hard to source phase on Magic Online, unfortunately. But 3 is probably fine. There's a lot of legends in this deck. This deck should probably have a Karakas in it as well. Just saying, Harain. You'll protect your own creatures while fending off Tamiyo. I'm just going to do that now. Sometimes you catch things while you're doing it live. Okay, cool. Karakas is in the deck now, which can protect our own Tamiyos, Kataras, and Wanshitongs, and Angs, and refire them. Hell yeah. If there was ever a Karakas deck, this is what it looks like. Anyway, the goal of this deck is to play Katara, play Magic mostly on your opponent's turn with a bunch of threats that have flash. That's Wanshitong, that's Orcish Bowmaster, Brazen Borrower, Ang, and then slowly take over and win somehow. We also have Tamiyo holding it down in the middle. The next deck is Bug Birds from Kath, one of my Discord mods. This is kind of a just aggressive tempo deck featuring Traveling Chocobo. Look at the top card of your library anytime. Play lands or cast birds from the top of your library. If a land or bird would trigger an ability, it triggers twice. Zaz Chocobo, this thing gets surprisingly big. I've played this card before. It does ramp up pretty hard. Baleful Strix, bird. Mockingbird, bird. Mockingbird also, anything it copies is a bird, so you could be doubling Orcish Bowmaster or Scythecat Cup triggers if you have Mockingbird. We're just trying to deal 20 damage, backed by Force of Will, Daze, and Thoughtseize. Love that. Pretty straightforward deck. Once again, Tamiyo in the middle. And the final deck of the day is Rug Food Chain from Shaku Rider. This deck does not have Tamiyo in it. Hell yeah. Food Chain, of course, inspiring combos ever since it was printed. Exile a creature, add X mana +1, where X is its mana value, spend it only to cast creatures. Mist Hollow Griffin and Squee the Immortal can be cast from exile. You have one of these, you have infinite mana for creatures, and you have infinite cast and enters the battlefield triggers. And the way this deck actually wins, Unstable Amulet. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere than your hand, opponent takes 1. Quint's Insight, which is something to do with the Green Goblin in real life. This is one of the stupid Spider-Man fake cards. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, deals 1 to each opponent. Weft Walker Ardent. This is a double whammy because you can warp this in for 1 mana and then feed it to Food Chain for 4. So it's a dark ritual. But also, whenever an artifact or creature you control enters, this deals 1 damage to each opponent. Also a win con. Quantum Riddler, another warp. This is a Seething Song that draws you 1 or 2 cards. And it's also just a thing that's fine to cast if we're on a fair game. Questing Druid digs into your deck, and whenever you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, red, put a +1 counter on it. This is infinitely large if you're casting Squeeze or Mist Hollow Griffins. A lot of synergy here. A bunch of cards that we're not super embarrassed to play, and they do stuff on their own, but they also feed the combo outlet. And there's the triple deck tech speedrun. Let's go play some matches versus Ecobaronen, who has also brought 3 mystery decks that I have not seen yet. I'm on the play in round 1, playing the Esper Flash deck. I'm going to keep this. It doesn't have Katara in it. Playing 1 match of Magic, we may or may not actually see any of the specific cards pop off the way we'd like, but Thoughtseize Bowmaster Teferi is a plan all in itself. Cesia. Oh, this is just Rug Beanstalk? What are we doing here? All right, Force Daze, 2 Murktides. I'm going to take Force and just play around Daze. Oh, nice rip. That's fine. That does make that Daze a lot better. But I'm not missing land drops here. Thundering Falls. I do have an Undercity Sewers in the deck. I think I'm going for it here. Sewer. Yeah, I'll take a Plains. And I'm going to pass. I think I'm going to Brainstorm in the end step. It didn't play a Beanstalk. That's good news for me. It's a Velocity Brainstorm. Just trying to bully the days before these Murktides get online. Hell yeah, Thoughtseize. I could go Thoughtseize, Tamiyo, Brainstorm. What's the worst card in this hand? Is it the Plains at this point? But I am trying to still outmuscle this days. It might actually just be Brainstorm. I kind of believe in Bowmaster eventually. And I believe in Teferi pretty much immediately, because I know I'm going to have to answer a Murktide in the near future. Okay, Thoughtseize you again. Brazen Borrower, Daze, Murk. Take the Borrower. Play the Tamiyo. And pass. And Bowmaster is still on top of my deck, because that's how that works when you cast 2 mana worth of spells and don't need to fetch. Oh, if my opponent here draws Wasteland, then he could protect his Murktide with Daze. If he draws Force of Will, he could protect his Murktide. But otherwise, I'm ready to do Teferi stuff. Alright, blue, white, colorless. Please don't have drawn Force of Will. You psycho. You complete psycho. Alright, Force Pitching Daze. I will respond. We know the whole hand right now. Actually, I'm not going to respond. I have to block flip on my opponent's turn. Alright, so that's 2 in a row where I Thoughtseize him and then he has one of the best cards that I didn't see. The Wasteland earlier and the Force of Will now. That's alright. I'm a Swords of Plowshares deck. I got Brazen Borrower. We can do stuff. Ooh, no attack. Okay. I'm going to attack and then cast Brainstorm. Move that around. There is a Force. There's Brazen Borrower. This is all good stuff. Put back Tundra and... Hold on. If I keep the Tundra, I can hit my land drop and play Brazen Borrower this turn, or Petty Theft. Yeah, once again, it does appear to be Orcish Bowmaster. That's the worst card in my hand. Plus that, draw a card, it's my Tundra, and pass to my opponent's turn where Force and Negation can kill stuff. I'm just going to bounce Murktide right now. Okay, that's clear. Fetch, fetch. This can be another 4/4 Murktide. Right, I'm actually going to let this resolve. I can block it with Brazen Borrower for a little while, and I have things like Brainstorm that can move cards around. Take this Brainstorm. Deck full of white cards. Are you going to get stifled? Wow. All right. Interesting. All right, last card in hand is Murktide. I'll spend Force on this. Brainstorm. Oh, there's a Katara. All right, this might be exciting now. Okay. I'm going to let Tamiyo die and focus on doing Katara stuff. I'm going to cast Bowmaster in the upkeep. This gives me experience and punishes any top deck cantrips here. I am at 13. Volcanic Island. Alright, you can play the other Murktide, which is a 4/4, which makes the first one a 5/5. Committing to a race here would be pretty interesting versus taking out Tamiyo. I think there is a conversation to be had about either. It is taking out Tamiyo. And we're in the spot I described where Katara is like potentially mid. My opponent just has a 4/4, and it doesn't matter how many other shits I have. Right, I'm going to Bowmaster in the upkeep again. I also have Brazen Borrower, which is another experience, and then Katara can delete herself into one of these Murktides to draw 3, discard 1. Right, here's an attack. Petty Theft, or Brazen Borrower. I wish it was Petty Theft. I'm going to block the bigger one, and then try to push back and do something cool. I am exactly dead on board. I know I'm drawing Ponder, and then I'm drawing a bunch of other cards too. Attack, trigger Katara, draw 3, discard 1. Yes, I'd like to use the ability. Do I need another Bowmaster? Probably not. Right, I will discard Bowmaster. I've already drawn 3 cards this turn. Oh, Tamiyo doesn't matter. Caracas is interesting. That lets me block a Murktide forever. I'm just going to shuffle. I'd rather have a removal spell. Ponder. More Force of Will. Shuffle that. Found Caracas anyway. Alright. Please don't have a removal spell. Of any kind. Alright, you've got a Tamiyo. I've got a Tamiyo. I'm going to block bounce. It's cool that I added Caracas to the deck. That was pretty smart. If I do say so myself. Now Katara gets another rip for 3. Do I want Tamiyo to flip? I actively do not. I need it for the blocker. I'm going to attack with everything. Attack, draw 3, discard a Flooded Strand. Got a Ponder. We're looking for a removal spell. Aang Swift Savior. This can airbend target creature or spell that exiles Murktide, and my opponent can replay it for 2. And Waterbending. I'm pretty far away from Waterbending. I could... How many things could I airbend this turn? And I should probably just take the Swords to Plowshares and figure out Aang next turn. Alright. Don't shuffle. Play Tamiyo. Plow the big Murktide, which gives me an experience. Tamiyo is attacking as well. That is risky with the double Bowmaster in play. Might as well bank your clue, though, in case you draw a removal spell. Kraken Clue going to the head here. I do have Force Blue card because I picked up the Tamiyo, if things turn on me here. Brainstorm, hell yeah. Okay. Active player, non-active player. I can kill Tamiyo here. He should know if he's dead or not right now. Looking at the 3 cards from Brainstorm. Alright, here come a million Bowmaster triggers. Kill Tamiyo, put opponent to dead on board. Gotta have, like, double Bolt me through Force of Will here. Or show me some spicy tech that I haven't seen yet. Alright, we're seeking a beast. Exiled Katara and Stifle. Okay, this is also a Katara deck. Nice. Alright, well, my Katara was better, and Karakas was nice. Celestial Purge. The threats I saw weren't black or red, even though there's clearly red cards in the deck. Rest in Peace looks really good against this Murktide Regent deck. I guess I don't know what all the threats are. Force Negation's coming out. I'm definitely doing that. Prismatic Ending can hit Katara, a card we saw right at the very end. Hydroblast can win some fights over Pyroblast and Lightning Bolt. Probably shave some Force of Wills off that. Do I want Rest in Peace? Am I using it for anything? Am I using my graveyard at all? I'm using it for Tamiyo. Alright, I think I'll stop here. I'll keep this. I'm a little worried about the Stifle on this triple fetch land hand. We've seen multiple Stifles in opponent's deck. Not going to play into that. Alright, you fetch. Got a Volk. Consider. Wild. Just looking for instant speed cantrips in whatever form they take. I'll take Undercity Sewers here. I know my opponent plays Wasteland, but I gotta outmuscle all this stuff eventually. There's Katara. And now we're in an interesting spot, because if I cast a spell now, a fight gives my opponent his experience. But if I pass the turn, and we fight on my opponent's turn, then I might not win the fight, but I also... Opponent doesn't bank any experience for the pleasure. I'll plow in the upkeep here. Hardcast Daze. Alright, I'm probably getting double dazed here, but... Okay. I accept. Alright, so that double daze could have been 2 experience while killing my Swords to Plowshares if I had made that fight on my turn. So pretty happy with that exchange. I'm going to Thoughtseize here, which might end up in some experience, but I think it's time to see what's going on over there. Brainstorm. I'm not going to try to snag that with Bowmaster, because that makes Daze too good. Makes Force too good. Borrower, Druid, Daze. So Daze confirmed. I'm going to take the Brazen Borrower. I can play around Daze. I can Hydroblast Seek the Beast. And I'm going to fetch Basic Island right now, while I'm not getting stifled. So Katara loots 1 now, which is better than nothing. Loot 1, confirm, discard a redundant Katara. It's nice when a legend handles redundant copies of itself. Flooded Strand. Tamiyo. Okay, interesting. What are the fights I want to fight this turn? If I Thoughtseize my opponent, I can get Brazen Borrower out of there. Katara's getting really good, though. Alright, I am going to Thoughtseize. Oh, Brazen Borrower was brainstormed away. Daze versus Questing Druid is actually interesting. I guess I'll take the Daze, so I can do everything I want to do this turn. Okay. Passing the turn. Should I develop Tamiyo? Yeah, I think I should, actually. I'm going to develop Tamiyo. Oh, Brazen Borrower was discarded. Oh, did I Thoughtseize that last turn and click on the wrong thing? What has happened here? Where does this Brazen Borrower come from? What's going on around here? I'm going to use Spell Pierce while it still works here, and then I can think about Hydroblast on the next one. As opponent is incentivized to do it on my turn, even though it plays around more on the main phase. Yeah, Katara going nuts. Draw 2, discard 1. This is now card advantageous, as well as card selection. Discarded Pyroclasm. That's a scary card. I was not going to play around that. I would have blocked Lightning Bolt. Alright, cool. Got through it anyway. And can't resist the experience. Passing to my turn. Yo, ding, 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 ding. Fuck off, Katara. There we go. Harain didn't even want a Caracas in this deck. I'm breaking balls. Harain is a friend. I am not just aggressively belittling one of my Patreon subscribers. Harain is a homie, and it's fun that the Caracas is in this deck. And it's really good. Alright, opponent's hand is Katara right now. Thundering Falls. Collected. He's going to need a Wasteland to get through this Caracas. There's not a lot of ways to handle this as a Rogue Tempo deck. Storm. I'm just going to pass. I'm not going to give him any excuse to gain experience. And bounce Katara in the upkeep. She's back. Alright, I don't love how clean Lightning Bolt is here, but I do need to be pushing damage and doing something. Brainstorm in response. That's a Brainstorm that did not gain experience because it had to be done now. I'm not in good shape versus a Murktide Regent. We're in there. 1 to you. I'm doing damage now. Ooh. Do I even want to use that? The Caracas is doing so much. Alright, I'm going to Brainstorm first, then make a decision. Okay. I'm going to float Prismatic Ending on top of the deck and develop Tamiyo now. Bounce Katara. Unless he can give that haste, I don't really care about it. And I will play the land in case I don't want Prismatic Ending. If he plays Murktide here, I'm just going to shuffle my deck. There it is. Didn't develop the Katara. It didn't get stifled. Ponder. Okay, this guarantees a Tamiyo flip if I want it. I'm not sure if I do. I don't want any of this stuff because it doesn't answer Murktide. Shuffle a land. I could use Tamiyo plus Caracas as a blocking situation, but I don't want to. Could stifle the flip trigger, which then block Tamiyo, or could just hit me twice with Murktide and ignore everything I'm doing. All of that stuff's pretty good. Okay, passing the turn, and probably dead. Ooh, alright, I can beat that. Yeah. Okay. I'm still in trouble to this Murktide. I'm dead to a Lightning Bolt, dead to a second Murktide, dead to a lot of stuff. It could put me to 2, or it could kill Tamiyo. Alright, yeah, it has to spend a turn dealing with Tamiyo because there's a Swords to Plowshares in my graveyard. Alright, come on, white deck. Deliver something useful. Challenge level impossible. I'm basically dead at this point. At 1 versus a red deck with no counterplay, I think I'm cooked. At 1. Katara's back. Tamiyo's here. Alright, going for the multi-legend bonus. I'm going to bounce Tamiyo. Dead. Alright. Okay, that one fell off. Murktide Regent, too good. Yeah, I have like 8 answers to a resolve Murktide. I'm okay with this. I don't need to be dramatic and bring in Rest in Peace. I don't actually think that's good. Alright, let's go. Alright, here we go. Keep this hand. I can Thoughtseize to clear the way, try to develop Katara, then we'll see where we are. There's no basic swamp in the deck. Nor should there be. Stifle, Pyroblast, Questing Druid, Daze, Consider. I think Pyroblast is the most annoying card here. The opponent only has 1 land. Oh, well, here we go. Here he goes again. This fucking guy. That's fine. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna fetch Surveil right now while I'm not getting stifled. Prismatic Ending. I don't think I want that. I'm holding a plow. I'm looking for lands. There's the Misty. Consider. Main phase. Playing around Bowmaster. Kept the card on top. Don't like that. Alright, I'm gonna ponder and try to make this Daze look good. Because I actually want to resolve Katara. Didn't fall for it, and also it's a big brick. I'm gonna shuffle this. Ooh. Look at me. I'm the Wasteland deck now. It does have a second land. Thoughtseize again. See what's developed over there. Mostly the same shit. Daze, Murktide, Questing Druid. I can actually deal with Murktide this game, unlike in the past. I think I want to take Questing Druid. That's card advantage. No thanks. I do need another land, though. Surveil to the top again. There's Katara. right in there. Now I'm pretty heavily taxed on this removal. That Murktide looks a lot better now than it did a minute ago. All right, decided it's time to use the daze, and opponent's gonna have a Murktide here, and I am now shields down. Well, if I had not wastelanded, I would not be worried about daze here, but opponent would have 3 mana, and all this would be happening a turn earlier. A ponder. Yikes, shuffle that. Wan Shi Tong, hell yeah. Alright, I'm pretty dead here. And Murktide Region is just really good at killing people, is the thing. My opponent's deck is like my deck, except it is better. It's lower to the ground. It has a bunch of 1 mana plays in it, where my deck's full of 2 mana plays. Wan Shi can block for a turn. Oh man, crack that fetch. I'm just going to go to 2. I'm prepared to just die to Lightning Bolt here. Right, end step, Wan Shi. I will at least declare that I have cast it this game. And get bolted in response. Sick. Alright, yep. Yeah, opponent's deck is like a cleaner, lower to the ground version of what I'm trying to do. It's more focused on killing the opponent than trying to tread water, which is great. And also, I thought seized my opponent like 6 times in this match, and every single turn played the best card he could have on the very next turn. So we're not going to beat that luck. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. On the draw, because we are exchanging play and draw here, I have Zaz Chocobo and Tamiyo, both to game with. This deck just won Eternal Weekend. What are you doing here? Okay. Yeah, Eternal Weekend Italy was... The finals was Eldrazi aggro versus 8cast. I believe there were 0 reserve list cards in the finals of the tournament. It was pretty cool. And all right, I will do the Lord's work here. I'm playing against the deck that won Eternal Weekend, though I guess technically is not a top meta deck, but it's certainly not off the beaten path either. And to be fair, Andreas and I both got back from Italy like 36 hours ago. This thing came together fast. All right, here we go. Zaz Chocobo, trigger. Do you see that interaction? Fetch, trigger. Do I want Bayou or C? Probably C. I'm going to attack for 2. And then I'll play Bowmaster on his upkeep. Let's get one of these in here. Or get it forced. Either way. If he forces the Bowmaster, then Tamiyo plus Brainstorm can invalidate the rest of the squad. Alright, force pitching Sink into Stupor. Cost him a land after missing a land drop. That makes me think he's hurting for blue cards. Alright, big chunk here. Ooh, another Chocobo. Bang! You want this smoke? Tamiyo. Brainstorm. Does he have another force? This is going to be a very important Tamiyo. Okay, sweet. I have force now. Can we flip the race with this? Ancient Tomb. That's pretty good all of a sudden. Alright, that's a ground creature, and although I understand he can get larger, I can also get larger. I have a 3/4. You like that shit? Okay, plus Tamiyo. I don't think I want Thoughtseize anywhere near me anymore. I'm going to ponder, and a fetch land would be pretty nice. Scythecat Cup. Baleful Strix. Wow. Alright, never mind. Keep. Don't shuffle. Baleful Strix can stabilize versus the Memory Guardian. And I'm going to attack with the little guy. Leave the big guy and the Death Touch guy back. Have to cast an artifact at instant speed to punish this attack. And I don't know if that's a thing they do. Heck yeah. Cheeky little Chocobo. Getting a taste. Pinnacle Emissary. How worried about this am I? I think the answer is not very. Because I have any number of drone tokens under control. I'm worried about Kappa Cannoneer. Okay. So Patrick Automaton is 4/4. That still doesn't beat what I'm doing. I have a 3/4. Opponent reveals Force of Will at random from my hand. So good luck with that. Yeah, it's sick how Tamiyo has just invalidated. My opponent's got like 12 permanents in play, and just like mostly doesn't matter. All right, I will feed the Strix to the Memory Guardian. Okay, do I want to buy back Ponder? No, because there are all these drones in play. I'm going to develop the Traveling Chocobo. Oh, Saw's Chocobo on top of my deck, but I don't have mana to cast it. Sad. Truly crushing. I'd really like to see a fetch land on top of my deck next turn, and maybe I can combo out. Lava Spur Boots. That lets one of the drones get through. I think I have to be okay with that. Yeah, because what if the hand is Kappa Cannoneer? The life total is pretty slim from those early beats. I'm going to have to chump block the bigger Automaton this turn with my 1/2 Chocobo. Whether my opponent wants to put damage on Tamiyo at all or focus on my face is also relevant here. There's one drone that I can't block because none of these birds fly. That is part of the thing about Chocobos. Okay, made the biggest one even bigger. That's the one I was going to block anyway. That seems like a waste of +1 power. Unless he's worried about it dying somehow and giving it the extra ward. I guess it does create a lethal attack even through the Tamiyo buffer, if you want to leave blockers back, which is fair. Fetch land on top of the deck, please. Regular land on top of the deck. Okay. I've got options here. I could get Ponder out of my graveyard with Tamiyo. Okay, what's going on here? I need to gum up the ground, and I can do that pretty effectively. All right, yeah, I'm going to play Saw's Chocobo, and then I'm going to play Scythecat Cub, and then I'm going to play Swamp from on top of my deck, and a lot of triggers are going to happen. And then Tamiyo will go ultimate next turn. Swamp, trigger. I can make this... Who can I make the biggest? Okay. I want to make Traveling Chocobo bigger. And if this is the second time it's resolved, we double on this one. Okay. Oh, fuck. God damn it. I stacked it backwards. All right, fine, whatever. You still have to block. Yeah, I stacked that backwards. I said it all out loud and then still did it wrong. Okay. Attack with my 6/7. There's a bird on top of my deck that I'm 1 mana short of casting. It would actually be really good. Yeah, if I had stacked this correctly, there'd be a force block on this Automaton because this would be 12 power. Okay. Blocking anyway, even though it is not forced. Plus Tamiyo, put opponent in check, go. Please don't kill me. And just like that, these little birdies take down the deck that won Eternal Weekend. I think I want this generic removal. I want Barrogoyf. Fatal Push is probably okay. Terrace Under, exile target artifact or enchantment. Sure. Disruptor Flute's not bad. Daze actually looks terrible here. Force of Will has its places. It's probably too many Thoughtseizes. Though Thoughtseize is a great answer to Kappa Cannoneer. Well, Master matters a little bit, but it's not really what I'm about here. Maybe I don't need this Fatal Push. There's some in the deck already. Alright, no Thoughtseize. Bring in a bunch of stuff that doesn't get clowned by Chalice of the Void. Let's party. I'm gonna have to mulligan this one. It doesn't cast any spells. Alright, mulligan this as well. Okay, keep. I'm gonna get rid of Ponder and probably just also Ponder. I can see Fatal Push buying me a turn. If I was on the play here, I could blow out a Pinnacle Emissary start with Fetch Push. But instead, I'm gonna chill. Yeah, here we go. How many things are you getting? A bauble, a petal, another petal. Bobbling me. Memory Guardian. Can't Fatal Push that one. Okay, so if I'm just on the play, his hand doesn't do anything. And that's not me tilting off. It's just me talking about the play patterns of this deck. Like, if you are able to hold up a removal spell for that turn 1 Pinnacle Emissary, their engine can really just fall off. Automaton. I'm going to get Underground Mortuary. Traveling Chocobo. Too late for you. Right, Scythecat Cub. All I could try to do here is, you know, rip a fetch land and have giant creatures. I don't know if that's even good enough. All right, I'm not coming back from this one. Let's go to game 3 where I'm on the play. And I think I just talked myself into actually wanting Fatal Push, though on the play, Thoughtseize is like Fatal Push, except does more. Yeah, maybe I'm actually just... No, Fatal Push can completely change combat later. I will turn one of the Bowmasters into a Fatal Push, though. All right, here we go. Let's do this. All right, I'm keeping, and watch this be the game that he has Chalice of the Void. The opponent's on a mull to 6. Let's see that Pinnacle Emissary. Give me a shot to shoot here. All right, I'll get my Surveil land then. No, I won't. Might need that. Tropical Island, cast Ponder. Another push. This is too many lands, too much. I do need to attack. Too many reactive spells there. Terra Sunder can get that Urza Saga. Patches of Houlihan is in. I will get the Surveil land this time. Aragorn, what's up? Love that guy. Okay, I am not going to push this turn. Ah, shit, I've just mistapped. I played that land so I could ponder. I guess having Force of Will while pushing Barrowglyph is okay, but I'm not going to pretend I did that on purpose. All right. Barrowglyph backed by Force of Will. Can this beat a Stompy deck? I've heard it's good. Oh, another Barrowglyph. And this one flies. All right, here we go. Big Barrowglyph. All right, here comes the Pineapple Emissary. I'm actually just going to force that because at this point, Fatal Push can clean up patches. I have plenty of mana as long as I don't get completely overwhelmed. That Pinnacle Emissary just made Barrowglyph 5/6. We got creature and instant and artifact off of that exchange. Right, Mox Opal. That is on. The third patches. None of them can attack. Yeah, Barrowglyph's fucked up. I love this guy. Another push. Okay, I'm going to attack. If he doesn't block, I'll just copy it. If he does block, I'll enjoy the life. Armagerd, it's my favorite bird. Burgerf. Can't cast a Kappa here. Memory Guardian. This does make the squad pretty big. One of them is still smaller than Goyf. Alright, still leaving them back. Love it. Love that for me. Oh my god. Keep these barrows Goyfing. Straight up Goyfing it. I'm going to attack. The Death Touch on this makes this so free. Even if my opponent counters Fatal Push, I still just get a counterspell out of the hand and eat his entire lunch. Alright. Fatal Push resolved. There's white men in the pool. Okay, so Dismember is going to get a trade here. Oh, that was a full eat. Okay, fair enough. Never mind. Oh, Kappa could make this a game. Alright, Kappin. That's still smaller than Barrowglyph. Okay, so Glyph's going to get through this turn. I don't think he'd delete Kappa for this. Finally, a connection. Multiple Zaz Chocobos. Hell yeah. You love to see it. Okay. Chocobo first. Fetch. Get Underground Sea. Grows Chocobo. Barrowglyph. The third Barrowglyph of the game. And I have Fatal Push can kill Patches of Houlihan while shrugging off ward. Or Abrupt Decay can do that. Fatal Push can kill it, and I can just pay the ward. Opponent just saw Fatal Push in my hand off of that bauble. Attacking with Memory Guardian. Gotta win somehow. I'm gonna push this Patchwork Automaton before my opponent draws a card for bauble. Let's just be done with that. Play my land, pre-combat. That makes Zaz Chocobo bigger because there's a forced trade with a Kappa anyway. Scythecat Cub. The beats never cease. Here we go. Did I defeat the Eternal Weekend champion, Mono Blue Affinity? Yeah, I did. On to the final round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in the final round. I am going to keep. This one actually gets going pretty good here. A little peek behind the curtain. We are recording up against the MTGO scheduled downtime. We have like 20 minutes to finish this match. So if you see me making decisions that seem more aggressive than they need to be, there are some external factors. Quint's Insight. Okay, well, that's a win con. I'm going to discharge this Tamiyo. Only Force of Will can save it right now. Or Force of Negation. So it's a 2-for-1. All right, Force of Negation, pitching Force of Negation. You got me. I'm going to try to combo really fast. Tamiyo coming in. Plateau. All right. Little Jeskai action here. Oh, here goes this shit. The Tamiyo can buy back Force of Negation next turn, which means I have to try to sell that I'm not a combo deck. Okay, I'm going to play Quint's Insight and just try to... Maybe he thinks this is some sort of fair value card. I would be surprised if he is aware enough of the weirdo dregs at the edge of the format to know that this is a food chain win condition. Okay, past the turn. I actually have a win next turn if my opponent has nothing, which is pretty unlikely out of a Jeskai control deck. But I can dream. Fetch in the end step. I'm out of Surveil lands. I'll take a Trop, and then go to my turn. Discard a card, draw a card. I'll discard Icefang Coatl. Okay. I'm going to go for it here. That's all I can do. Not like this. That's too easy. Boo. Boo. Alright, well, I'm pretty fucked now. I guess I should at least discharge this other Tamiyo. Alright, well, that was awful. Tamiyo has me in check. Food chain off the top? Oh my god. Oh no, I have to discard? Oh, this is not optional. Fuck my life. No! Quint, why? I had it! Okay, shit. I hate you, Quint. Why would you do this? I guess it's Griffin. Alright, I drew a Quantum Riddler. Let's try to do stuff. Alright, don't have more removal, Andreas, please. Stop! No! Alright. Wow, I mean, considering the wall of cheap interaction, being against a Spell Pierce deck sucks here. I think I want to kind of pivot, and I know that's not like a sexy showcase of what this deck is about, but look at all these cards I could sideboard in and just kind of do that instead. What if I just take out all of the questionable cards? Miss Hollow Griffin is actually really good against white removal, because if they plow it, it'll be back. Discharge actually looks okay, but I don't think I need all of them. Icefang Coatl, super mid. Yeah, the Weftwalker Ardent is a combo card. Yeah, I mean, I don't love that I'm playing exactly one match with this deck and I'm boarding out the food chains for content reasons, but I do think it's just correct. Magic Online will go under maintenance in 17 minutes. Let's do this shit. We got it. Got a mulligan this one. Okay, this one I can keep. And I'm going to bottom Fury. Edge Maze. Bro, Entomb, baby. Dang. Tamiyo. I feel like I have to respect, or at least acknowledge, the possibility of mass land destruction here, like a Blood Moon, a Back to Basics, that kind of thing. Got him this time. Had it covered. Got another force? It actually does. All right. Well, let's see. Tamiyo, can you do it? Can you do it all? Okay, Brainstorm, kind of sweet. I'll start with that. Endurance, that can chew up the Tamiyo in the future. Icefang Coatl's a long way off from being any good. And I kind of want to play Amulet right now. Yeah, do I want to just lose to Blood Moon, I guess is the problem. Okay, no. The answer is no. No, I do not. Right, Tamiyo has already recouped 1/4 of the cards spent protecting her. I feel like I'm getting a monkey paw situation here. Alright, I'll brainstorm in response, see if I can find a discharge. Nope. Okay. Forest and Icefang Coatl are out of here. I'm getting a monkey paw situation of, I hope we can finish this match in 20 minutes, and then I just get soloed by Tamiyo twice. The opponent missed a land drop on that. That's noteworthy. Look at the Thundering Falls. Force of Will to the graveyard. It's not helping anymore. Burrow. Basic Forest, just in case. Green, green, blue, blue. As the Pyroblast even, not even have to use a real card on that. Brutal. Undertrap Trainer finds Prismatic Ending. And Tamiyo bought Force of Will. Okay. Oh, playing a little scared over there. I like it. Unstable Amulet. I'm going to use this energy immediately and see if I can get a land drop off of this. Oh, Quantum Riddler. All right, I'll just cast that. Oh, you can only warp from your hand, right? That's how that works. That is literally the text of warp. All right, I'll warp this one from elsewhere. Clearing their graveyard is not worth drawing an extra card here. I could pitch Uro to Endurance. All right, first pitching Thundertrap Trainer. If he comes up with white mana, he can clear my Unstable Amulet, which also takes... Or I think I can continue to play Quantum Riddler. Because this reads until I exile another thing with this artifact. It doesn't read until this artifact leaves play. Yeah, I can still use that. Cool. Flame of Anor. Good find, though. Waddle. And Prismatic Endings in hand. Alright, I guess I'm going to try to spike something with this Endurance this turn. Oh god, is this Murktide Regent? I'm going to get Murktided holding an Endurance. That's so embarrassing. Alright. I'm going to play the Endurance now and take the Force Will. I did not expect Murktide Regent to be in this deck. Though I guess you could just put it in any blue deck and you're probably fine. Yeah, I played the Endurance when I did because just trying not to make Murktide bigger by exiling or flipping that Force of Will. Okay, well, I've got my Quantum Riddler. I'm not investing in Uro here because I know my opponent's holding Prismatic Ending. Let's play a card that is a lot harder to end prismatically. I feel like I'm kind of pushing back here. This isn't going poorly. Brazen Bars are going to insert a Murktide. I do have to deal with Tamiyo this turn, though. Ugh. All right, now I have to Petty Theft the Tamiyo because I'm not going to get through there. Ooh. Oh. I like that. All right, I'm going to Petty Theft Tamiyo and just hope this does anything. Okay, now I guess I'm going to Uro and try to hit a red card to pitch to Fury to take some loyalty off of Tamiyo. That's all we got. And didn't get there. Okay, well, yeah, and only one of my creatures flies. Yeah, all right. Well, we got the finger on the monkey paw curling. Soloed by Tamiyo. Okay, I am going to return this deck real quick before MTGO shuts down, and then we will debrief with Andreas. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here.
All right, we're here with the debrief of the basement battle. I'm here with Brian. We had a blistering fast set of games here. There was a little bit of a time crunch with the Magic Online downtime going on. Brian, good games. And yeah, welcome back from your trip to Europe.
Yeah, it's not often when we do these that I've hung out with you 2 days ago. We normally are
exactly
thousands of miles away, so much closer than normal. And yeah, I don't know if you mentioned it in your video before now, but yeah, getting back from Italy Monday night, and then we have this thing Wednesday morning, and then the MTGO downtime hits. We're recording earlier than we planned, but also the downtime sooner than I thought, and I'm glad Tamiyo is in the format to make otherwise interesting games completely pointless and just get it done quick with 5 minutes left before downtime hits.
Oh yeah, the point was to get it done here before the hour mark, and Tamiyo delivered. But let's try and take it from the top here. We both had a little bit of Katara action going on in round one. I worked a little bit on Thomas Mar's Temur version from Eternal Weekend, which looks to be pretty cool. It's essentially using Questing Druids as its flash threat, where you had Bowmasters in your list. Talk a little bit about your Esper build there. It looked pretty sweet, aside from, I guess, your inability to find enough plows to deal with my Murktides.
Right, yeah, it's just a classic Esper to fairies, swords to plowshares, cantrips, Force of Wills kind of deck, except it's trying to lean on Katara to be aggressive, and it felt like I was behind in that matchup because we have the same core engine, but your threats are better. Our removal both hits the important things. Like Lightning Bolt doesn't kill a Murktide, but I don't have those. So it's not like I'm gaining any advantage by having Plow or Bolt in that situation. All your cards cost 1 and 2, while mine cost 2 and 3. And just felt like, other than Caracas was a huge tool that I had access to that you didn't.
Right.
That really dominated like 1.5 games. And that, other than that, and I think that we're in an interesting spot right now because the bans just happened, the metagame's still shaking out. We just had an Eternal weekend, and what even is the legacy meta? It's not really established yet. So this basement battle, this playing off meta decks, the whole world is up for interpretation. And a month from now, it might seem completely insane that we both registered Katara in an off meta deck. Maybe Katara is the meta in a month from now. I don't know.
Yes.
And
no, you're right.
Yeah. So we're more just exploring decks that, you know, I haven't played. Well, I have played Energy Food Chain before on the channel. I've done some stuff with Traveling Chocobo on the channel, but this build I think came out of a MTG decks top 8 or something. Like, this is a real deck that somebody played somewhere and did well with. And
sure.
Yeah, it's just cool to play the other decks. But as far as Katara goes, finding the shell for her, like, is that Dreadhorde Arcanist or is that Mercurial Spelldancer? And we'll find out in the next few months as people build with her.
Absolutely. I've done a little bit of work on a Dimir build with Snuff Out and Orcish Bowmasters essentially being the draw to the deck. I saw that INF just 5-0'd with it today as well. Who knows? If Snuff Out is good in the metagame, I really like that one. For this version, it's more, if it's really about grinding, my deck has 4 Tamios, 4 Kataras, and 3 Questing Druids. Then, you know, I can see that being good. But then again, if you need better removal than Bolt against the metagame, we have to again rethink. So I like your point of everything is up in the air, but there's a lot of potential to explore. And we got to showcase two versions of that in the first match. I wanted to highlight your ability. So I talked a little bit about this on my end with when I have Stifle and Daze in my deck, you're generally very good at making those as least effective as possible. So I actually felt that I was not ahead. I felt like I got away with it when I won these games because you didn't have a million plows. I think you never saw one game one maybe, and then only saw a single one that had to kill a Katara early in the other game where Murktide ran away with it. But, you know, who knows? I guess, how many Teferis do you run in that deck, Brian?
It's just one. But yeah, maybe, I mean, I made some jokes on my side about how every time there was one unknown card in your hand, it was the perfect card. Like, I thought
that happened for a few times. Yeah, Thoughtseize
you like 4 or 5 times in the first round, and every time I was like, okay, as long as you didn't draw Force of Will this turn, and then you had Force of Will, or as long as my mana holds up, then you draw Wasteland, and it's like it's just always right there. So maybe you did get away with it. Maybe if we play that out a million times, I win most of them. But definitely, it's like the cheese factor versus the efficiency in general.
Yeah, I think that's fair to put it. I also said on my point, like on my side with the Stifle, you learned about the Stifle when I tried to counter like a -3 on turn 8 or whatever. I would rather have my opponent learn about Stifle on turn 1 or turn 2, right? So that's a little bit of equity there. Then after that match, we moved on to me playing the Rogue deck of Eternal Winning. Affinity. I did play my own version, which is probably like 5 or 6 cards off of that deck, but the whole point is it's still not represented in the meta share. I guess that could change next time I check, right? So for now, I guess Affinity also surprised you taking down Eternal Weekend. That deck, you know, was a solid deck leading up, but that was with Reanimator Legal and main deck Tormod's Crypt being a thing and stuff like that. And you brought a sweet one with the Sultai Birds there. You got me confused when you played the little bird, because at that point, are you some landfall combo deck? And I was scared at this point. So maybe, talk to me a little bit about that build.
Yeah, it's not a landfall combo deck. It does have the little Zaz Chocobo. It has 4 Scythe Cat Cub, and then it has 4 Traveling Chocobo. And I actually, the turn where I had all the stuff together, I misstacked my triggers, where instead of like the one turn where you had to block my 6/7 bird with your automaton, that bird was supposed to be a 12/13. and Traveling Chocobo was supposed to be bigger as well, but my Sightcat Cub, like I said it out loud, I was like, okay, the second one that resolves will double the triggers. Okay, I think I got it, and then I still stacked it wrong.
Sure.
But yeah, it does, it can suddenly do 20, 30, 40 damage out of nowhere if a Traveling Chocobo is involved. But it's also just a Daze, Thoughtseize, Force of Will, tempo deck with the Chocobos look silly when they start, but once it becomes 3/4, you're just like, oh, this is a real thing now, and it's got to be bigger next turn.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And then the highlight for me was getting buried in under a lot of Baragoyfs. I thought I found some ways to stay in the game, let me put it that way. Like the combat dismember was neat, sizing of the automatons, but you had a couple of pushes to which are actually quite situational against affinity.
Yep.
The push, right? Because I have a lot of like 5s and 6 on paper, but yeah, those were backbreaking here. I even got to see one with a bobble, so I knew it was coming, and I got buried by the Goyfs in the end. Even if the flying one was a cool one, so I guess it's a bird you can play off the top of your deck with the big bird, or how does it work?
Yeah, the Mockingbird, it's just a bird. So you could play it off the top of your deck with Traveling Chocobo, and Traveling Chocobo doubles all the triggers, and Mockingbird stays a bird even after it copies something else. So like, you're doubling Scythecat Cub triggers, you're doubling Bowmaster triggers, all of that is involved. It's just some fun stuff. Baleful Strix is a bird, so you could cast it off the top, then draw 2 with Traveling Chocobo. There's a lot of fun commander style synergy going on in that deck.
Yeah, that's sweet. So you got me there. The champion deck was defeated.
Right. And then I just want to,
go ahead.
Before we move on, like the Fatal Push, I just want to talk about that one in that matchup, because like I was thinking about it in sideboarding too. It's like, do I want my pushes in or my Thoughtseizes in, or both or neither? And your deck does have a bunch of 5s and 6s, but they all have to filter through a 3-drop to get there. And the game 2, the one that you won on the play, I had Fetchland Fatal Push in my hand, and you had the Emissary, which shit out 3 or 4 little guys, then also made the 3/4 flyer. And if I'm on the play, I just push the Emissary, and you pass with a 1/1 in play. And so like thinking about the structure of how that deck works and how we need to play against it, especially if it's more on the radar now, bottlenecking how good their turn 1 can be with something like a Lightning Bolt, a Plow, a Fatal Push might actually be really important to collapsing their good draws.
Absolutely. Also, I play 4 Emeries, so it does have targets. It's mainly just that it's not a sure thing. But yeah, great point about that. It serves a purpose against probably the best of my draws, right? And then some games that go longer, get a little bit more scrappy. Paying 3 to kill automaton is totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next and last matchup was my Jeskai Wizards deck, and I was looking at the clock there, and I was like, okay, well, it's time to fight a little bit harder over the Tamiyo than I normally would, but I think these games actually played out, like, time wasn't a factor with the draws that I had available to me. That deck looked like super sweet, so I guess with what was the first enchantment you played? The Ping enchantment, does that just win with a Griffin and a Food Chain?
Yeah, that's... it has a real name. It's one of the Spider-Man cards that has a fake name online.
All right.
And it's something about a green goblin. I don't know. But it's, you rummage in your main phase, and then whenever you cast a spell from exile, your opponent takes 1. And so it's got that one. It's got the Unstable Amulet, which also kills with a Griffin while also drawing cards along the way. And then it has a creature with Warp. It warps for a single red, and it's whenever a creature or artifact enters, your opponent takes 1. So the warp could be a dark ritual into a Food Chain, or if you don't need the mana, it's a win con. And the deck has a lot of cool overlapping synergy. And then we didn't really see it because Tamiyo made quick work of game 2, but I fully juked after sideboard. I had Furies, Endurances, Veil of Summers, like my combo was out, and I was just focusing on I had Pyroblast, Brazen Borrower. I just brought in like 9 or 10 cards that play fair.
Sure. Yeah, so I think my deck was poorly set up against that with 0 plows in the deck, just a couple of endings. I did have a full set of Pyroblast. That's going to help a lot, as we saw against the Uro. But yeah, when I saw the second Uro and the Endurance there, that was an interesting turn, actually. So I think I have a Tamiyo at 5, and or maybe 4, and I have the Murktide. So I play the Murktide and I leave the Force in the graveyard. Yeah, talk to me about the timing of your Endurance. Like, what are you thinking here? Are you trying to eat my creature on combat? I think I had a Trainer. Like, what was your thoughts when you passed?
Yeah, I just didn't think Murktide Regent would be in this deck based on what I saw. I saw, Wizard stuff. I saw Snapcaster Mage. I saw Spell Pierce, a Flame of Anor. I figured I'll hold the Endurance, either eat the Thunder Trap in combat, or maybe clip something if you try to pick up something with Tamiyo, and then when we got to your main phase and that iconic like tap 2 and then the slow pause on MTGO as your opponent's clicking through the graveyard, I was like, come on, a Murktide Regent in this deck?
It's I actually play 3. I play 3 in this deck. I really love it. I think the closing power is the weakness of that deck. But that, again, we talked about this a lot, where it's like that unknown information being an edge. That's probably a good example of what we've talked about again and again with these decks. And like, you kept me on the needles with the landfall guy, and now all of a sudden here's a nasty surprise with the Murktide. Magic is a game where if you only expect the expected, you will be very poorly surprised sometimes. Yep,
for sure. And this 3-game set was a feature of Murktide Regent, and we've had Murktide Regent so long now. It's 2 Modern Horizon sets ago. It's old news, but don't forget that. I mean, you and I worked together on the Reanimator deck that I played at Eternal Weekend, and just jamming 2 Murktides in there made the deck a lot better. Our game 1 today, the Katara mirror, I had completely under control with Caracas, and then you just suddenly had a 7/7 in play, and I had no plan for that. And then
absolutely
game 3 as well, I even had the Endurance, and now that I know you play Murktide, if we're in that same spot ever again, I'm just going to do it in the upkeep. But I didn't know that time, and it was too late.
Absolutely, and Murktide was here to save the day and make sure that we could get this video out on time as well.
Right.
I had fun with this. I will say, with a little bit more prep, I could have gone a little bit more creative with these decks. So I guess an apology is fair enough. I think we had sweet games, but I'll try and do better next time when it comes to showcasing a little bit of a deeper end of the card pool.
Right. And yeah, shout out to my Patreon, of course, because they submit and work together to tune and then vote on these lists all throughout the month. So we're ready with cool decks every month. And if it was up to me, I was in Italy for the last week, and I wouldn't have had good ideas either. So thanks, Patreon.
Yeah, that's incredible. I did have some suggestions as well, and took some of my members' favorite decks to battle. And yeah, I'm enjoying these, Brian. But I'm not going to keep you much longer here. You can say the final words and wrap us up here.
All right. Well, we will be back next month in a new year. 2026 is just around the corner. That's when the next basement battle will be. And who knows? Maybe Katara will be a tier 1 staple that everyone wants banned by then, or maybe she'll still be a feature of these basement battles. We'll find out together.
Absolutely.
All right. If you're watching on my side, go check out Ecobaronen. If you're watching over there, come check out BoshNRoll, and we'll see you for the next one.